Welcome to another episode of Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean, and if you're here, please hit the thumbs up. Just doing this quick live, real quick, because um, I've been trying to do the Saturday mornings, but this Saturday morning I might have something to do. So I figured if I don't get a Saturday morning podcast done, I can do one tonight, and I'll still be doing my 6 p.m. on Sunday. But I just had a few questions to the viewers out there and stuff like that, and just talk a little bit about a few things. So everybody kind of know about the whole crazy scenario with the triangle that people been talking about. Majority of people want to see, and let me know y'all opinion if you're here in the chat. Majority of the people want to see Ryan Garcia rematch and Devin Haney. Now, for whatever reason, it seems to be on the side of Devin Haney and his team that they don't want that fight in particular right now. But as we saw on the Ring magazine interview he did on YouTube, he said he'll fight the guy that beat Ryan Garcia, which is none other than Rolly Romero. So let me know what y'all think about that matchup. Rolly Romero versus Devin Haney, and how do you see that fight going? Also, the big fish, Errol Spence. It's only been rumored, of course, that he was coming back. So, hey, I would like to see him come back, but at the same time, if he decides not to come back, I respect that as well. I'm definitely a fan of Errol Spence, a loyal fan, so that's what it is. Um, and I think people are very harsh on Errol Spence for losing to Bud Crawford. You know, not to want to make excuses for Errol Spence, but I mean, we'll just say, because we saw what we saw with Errol Spence. But at the end of the day, we know he came up short and he lost the fight. But he lost one fight. And he didn't lose the fight to, respectfully, what you would call a plumber or a taxi cab driver type fighter. He fought Bud Crawford. He fought the best that was there, you know. So it's like, I think people are very harsh on Errol Spence for taking one L, and not just Errol Spence, just people in general. Somebody has to win, somebody has to lose. Here and there, there's a draw, as we saw with Lamar Roach. Last two fights, they were both ended in a draw. We saw with Dillian White versus Jermaine Franklin, it ended up as a draw. So, um, so that's what it is, you know. Um, so I just want to know what y'all think. Like I said, y'all know I always be on here on Sundays, and I'm normally not here on the weekdays. It's very rare that I am. Um, so if you're a boxing fan, let me know. True boxing fans, true boxing fans only. Um, and like I said, 2026 this year, we are definitely going to be having a lot more interviews here. I got a lot of material from way back in like 2023. I got YouTube videos up and stuff like that. Um, and I appreciate everybody here right now. I see Craig Mack or whatever your name is trolling. I appreciate you too. Thanks for being a troll. Um, so man, it's all good. But anyways, like I was saying, I think Errol Spence gets way too much criticism on losing to Bud Crawford. Um, Now, like Tank Davis, whether or not he comes back, I definitely hope he does because he has a lot left in the gas tank. A very, very smart fighter. That's definitely something that was talked about with Mr. Kenny Bohering on Cam J Network's interview. Um, hey, that's cool. If you don't care, why you here? You don't have to be here if you don't care. Making foolish and ignorant statements. You don't have to be here. Um, but anyways, for those who are real boxing fans, hit the thumbs up. And anyways, we're gonna keep it moving. So anyway, if Tank Davis does come back, which I hope he does, we know how he did against Mario Barrios. And Ryan Garcia did go and Mario Barrios did, even though he lost, he did go the distance with Ryan Garcia, whereas Tank Davis was able to stop him within the distance. Uh, so as cruiserweights, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Ja Apataya, the Australian boxer, and Ja Apataya versus Brandon Glanton. That just got on my radar with Brandon Glanton. He's he can really punch, and Ja Apataya is more skilled, like I was talking about in the last segment. He's definitely the more all-around skilled fighter, and Brandon Glanton is definitely a pretty heavy hitter. I don't think he's ever been dropped and stuff like that. So it's the first time for everything. So we're gonna definitely see what they have going on when they have their showdown this weekend on Zuffa. Um, from what I'm hearing, it's a 3-fight deal with Ja Apataya. So we're gonna definitely see. Um, so I mean, overall, that card doesn't have a lot of big names. Obviously, the star of that card is going to be Ja Apataya. But Brandon Glanton, I don't think he's a fighter that you want to just overlook, like he's just a nobody. Um, it's going to be a good fight. I'm edging Ja Apataya, but I don't think he'll get reckless. But that's one thing he can't afford to do is get reckless in that ring. He has to be really, really careful because Brandon Glanton definitely has power. Now, as far as the heavyweights, I saw the face-off with Jermaine Franklin of Michigan, USA, versus the UK up-and-coming star, um, Moses Ntuma. Moses Ntuma has been doing his thing, and everybody who's fighting that guy is not making it to the mid rounds. So I guess the question is, will this fight go the distance? You know what I'm saying? Because we know that Jermaine Franklin has a very, very good chin, a solid chin, and he's very durable, and he's coming to fight. You know, you can see it in his eyes, you can see it in his body language and his attitude. He has a real good attitude. It was a very respectful face-off. Um, Moses Ntuma said um, he's not overlooking Jermaine Franklin. And Jermaine Franklin obviously is not overlooking Moses Ntuma. So I just want to know what y'all think, you know, for the ones that are the true boxing fans. Do you think that Moses Ntuma will stop? Will he stop Jermaine Franklin? Will he be the first fighter to stop Jermaine Franklin? And he gave Jermaine Franklin props earlier on the face-off. He said, look, this guy does not take easy fights. He went from Dillian White right up to AJ. So Moses Ntuma does understand that this is no pushover fight. So it's definitely another heavyweight clash that I'm looking forward to. And I'm looking for some training footage though. I want to start seeing more training footage for the build-up for like the Wardley versus Dubois, Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder, um, Lawrence Okolie. He may do some like training footage, but maybe not as much. But it might be somewhere out there. But as far as like certain fighters that are like more mainstream, like Deontay Wilder and Derek Chisora, you would think they would have some type of training footage on YouTube where we can actually see them preparing for the upcoming fights. I want to see Wardley and Daniel Dubois prepare for the upcoming fights. Um, and all the different heavyweights that are going to be stepping in the ring very soon, you know, because there's quite a bit of fights. And I did a video a few episodes ago, and I was talking about the fact that the heavyweight division is doing its thing, because you got like at least, at minimum, 7 good heavyweight fights that are coming up, you know, in the next couple months. So the heavyweight division is doing good, and then of course the 154-pound division is doing good. The 140-pound division of boxing is doing good. Now, the 147-pound division, not so much, you know. You got Brian Norman Jr. and a few guys at 147 pounds, but they're not really kicking up any dust in that particular division. But when you go to 140, you got the guys there. And because 147 is not so deep, and the fact that Richardson Hitchens is struggling with his weight, he should probably go up to 147-pound division. In a division that's not that deep, and he can start, you know, at a good pace, because there's not a whole lot of sharks in that particular division, so he can get his feet wet and kind of move around at 147. Now, for instance, if he was stepping into 154, he would be in trouble probably, because it's a lot of talent there, and stuff like that. Now, Lamont Roach Jr. is definitely another fighter we want to see do his thing. And I heard who he was fighting or supposed to be fighting earlier. I'm just trying to recall. Let me see. Because I know it's not going to be the Pitbull immediate rematch, Pitbull Cruz. So let me see. because I thought somebody said it was probably my cousin Cam J. He was supposed to be fighting. Yeah, William Zepeda. So as of March 2026, the WBC has officially ordered a matchup between Lamont Roach and William Zepeda for the vacant WBC lightweight title. I definitely agree that that's going to be a very good style matchup. Um, because of the way that Lamont Roach, as my cousin has said earlier on his podcast, the way he fights, his style of fighting. He could probably fight a different way, but he fights a certain way that gives up certain advantages he could have, but it makes for an exciting fight. Um, and William Zepeda, who's not necessarily a power puncher, but a decent volume puncher. It'll be good to see how they kind of go back and forth because when we saw Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda, we saw pretty much a masterclass, but we all know Shakur is not necessarily a finisher. Lamar Roach may be able to turn it up a notch and stop William Zepeda within the distance. So we're going to see for sure. So let me know what you think. And I know it's late night here, like 10 p.m., so a lot of people are not as tuned in as they normally are. And I didn't even make an announcement on social media. I just jumped on here for a minute. So let me know your opinion. Um, Lamont Roach Jr. versus William Zepeda. Uh, what would be your prediction? Your prediction on Moses and Tuma in the heavyweight division versus Jermaine Franklin. And do you think Errol Spence is unfairly criticized, overly criticized, just for having one loss? With all, with his good resume and everything else and all his accolades he's achieved, do you think it's unfair the way that people are treating him? Let me know what you think. And I've seen some footage with Jamal Charlo circulating on social media. Um, and Brian Norman Jr., I think I spoke about him earlier, but if not, he has the throwback boxing promotions, his new promotional company. He signed Edwin De Los Santos. So congrats to Brian Norman Jr. He talked about his first loss to Devin Haney. He took it on the chin. He doesn't seem to hang his head low about it. I mean, when you're boxing in there, sometimes you're going to lose. So he took it like a champ. He took his loss like a champ. So shout outs to um, Brian Norman Jr. And also, speaking of him, his new coach and trainer will be Ronnie Shields. So I think um, that'll be a good connection and a good chemistry. The fact that he's going over to Texas or whatever, down to Texas, and in camp with him, and you'll have I want to say he has Jermell Charlo down there as well. So who knows? He might get some sparring in with Jermell Charlo. He may get some pointers from Jermell Charlo and things like that. And Ronnie Shields is definitely a reputable trainer. So, I understand he was with his dad at first, but you know, sometimes fighters may not always go their whole career under the tutelage of their dad. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the son will split away. Um, so, you know, it's just business, you know. So I think Brian Norman Jr. will be doing okay, and I think he made a good decision to go with Ronnie Shields with his style, and he can definitely develop and grow. So that's pretty much it, y'all. Like I said, I will definitely be back here on Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA, and pretty soon I'm hoping maybe this Sunday as well. I'm hoping to do an interview with a local boxer from out here. So we've been talking a lot. So if I could get him this Sunday, it would be great. So I will let you know something between Friday and Saturday if we'll have a special guest on Sunday. Um, and also, if you go back to my last interview, I had a UK boxer from United Kingdom on here, did an interview. Giorgio Asala, shout outs to him. He has a upcoming fight next week. Now, Giorgio is actually from Romania, from the country of Romania, and we had a really good in-depth interview. It was about an hour and a half, and we had a pretty good turnout on that particular show. All right, y'all. So everyone, take care, and I will catch you all on the next round. Peace.